Today on the Topping Show, Bud Light CEO says it's the boycotters' fault his employees are suffering. Supreme Court bans affirmative action in colleges. Michigan to ban the First Amendment. Dylan Mulvaney speaks out about the Bud Light fiasco. Alcohol is banned at the Paris Olympics unless you're rich. Nike misses their Q4 profit goals. The first EV bike adopts a Tesla plug. Eli Lilly to buy Cyclone Therapeutics. Overstock.com is now BedBathAndBeyond.com. Snapchat Plus hits 4 million users. Supreme Court backs religious freedoms, and aspartame may cause cancer. All that and much, much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, can you need a little assistance, you reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Now, going on to the political part of the podcast, you have the Supreme Court banning affirmative action in colleges, which goes against decades of precedent of these schools with their discrimination policies. Now, the vote came down to a 6-3 vote, and the Supreme Court specifically said you cannot use race as a factor for college administrations. The cases that were brought to the Supreme Court, because they have to rule on cases that brought to them, which I have to clarify that partially because schools are not teaching much in the United States. Again, some are really good. Calm down in the comments. But this specific ruling was against North Carolina Chapel Hill, UNC, for their race-based affirmative action policies, and they know that they were unconstitutional. Also going against Harvard, which the Harvard, they're going to be devastated that they can't discriminate anymore. I mean, what will they do? What will they possibly do? I guess I missed the boat. Maybe I should apply to Harvard. Get that Cuban a Cuban card. Ooh, that could be a novelty in and of itself. Or a CC. I'll think of something smarter later. But in terms of the statistics on, everyone talks about, do schools really do this? Yeah, they absolutely do. And here's my latest report or analysis of Harvard admissions. These were groups of people who it was leveled, so they had the same test scores and SAT scores for the applications. And they noted, what's the percentage that the school admits them? Asians community was 12.7%. White, they were accepted 15.3% of the time. Hispanic, 31.3% of the time. African American, 56.1%. So you might notice there's a very large discrepancy of the differences between those percentages. And yeah, it is interesting. People say, yeah. They also note, you ever wonder, there's a interesting another fact how there's a higher percentage of females at college campuses also because of this policy. And when it comes to the case of the Harvard, the result was, quote, schools must now, quote, decide where racial diversity ranks among priorities that can include decide where racial diversity ranks among priorities that can include academic performance, achievement in extracurricular activities, and preferences for alumni and donors. Now, Justice Roberts noted specifically, quote, for far too long, colleges in the United States have concluded wrongly that the touchstone of an individual's identity is not challenges based on the skills-based or lessons learned, but of the color of their skin. Our constitutional history will not tolerate this. Based, as the youth might say, which I think is just another word for cool. Or they're based in reality. Either way, based. Now, it should be noted that the justices on the leftists, who are a term I use for people who are hard left, and you also have, far right. It's terms for everything these days. But you have Sotomayor saying that this rolls back decades of progress, which personally, I don't see discrimination as progress. I think it's a bad thing, but that's just my 3 cents. Now, you also have Katai Jackson saying that this is a travesty, that you can no longer take someone's race into account and then it's only merit-based. Katai Jackson, you might know her as not knowing what a woman is, because when she has been questioned to become a Supreme Court justice, they asked her if she could define it, and she said she's not a biologist. Yeah, I'm not too surprised. Yeah. Now, Biden actually also, again, this was Supreme Court is different than college admissions, but it is interesting that Biden actually said before who he's going to hire. He said what sex or sexual orientation, what gender and ethnicity the person would be before the qualification. So Biden proudly said we're going to hire someone who is a African American female. He didn't go out and say he's going to hire the best, which is what he should have done. I mean, political optics alone, that would be a more prudent decision to say, I'm going to choose the best candidate, and they just happen to be, because that, in my opinion, everything is merit-based. Now, you also have Biden's former staffer by the name of Erica Marsh saying, quote, today's Supreme Court decision is a direct attack on black people. No black person will be able to succeed in a merit-based system, which is exactly why affirmative action-based programs were needed. Today's decision is a travesty, unquote. And of course, it should be no surprise that she is a liberal white woman, which that's one of the most racist statements I've read in quite some time. Though not too surprising. Again, everyone in the United States has the opportunity to succeed. That's why people move across the globe and move heaven and earth to get here. And also, fun fact, the highest earning group by demographics in the United States are Asian Americans. They make more than any other race. And African Americans make more in the United States than any other country in terms of the average income per family. There are unprecedented levels of opportunity in the United States. That's the beautiful thing about capitalism and business. Traditionally, people hire the best people that's going to have the best impact on the business and the customers, and it's going to facilitate their needs and help propel the company to new levels. Now, this will be an interesting ripple effect in terms of, will this have an effect on businesses with employment? Because many businesses do have they have initiatives for hiring minorities, and that, again, I'm not against that. I'm wondering, will this be taken into account in terms of, will businesses now be measured by different metrics? Will they have to obfuscate the truth? There are some people already purporting that instead of the college applications, you're saying your race, you have to an essay where you write about yourself, and in that you could write your race. So instead of having a check mark on the college application, you'll be able to say it through the essay. So it will be interesting to see what type of ripple effect that has on college applications, as well as how's it going to affect the business world and other initiatives. But at the end of the day, I think it's great to have, I always say it really is important to have multiple perspectives, because you always want to surround yourself by the smartest people and the best people. And I don't think it should be based on race alone. It should be about merit. What's your unique background? How can you add value to the company? And time shall tell to see how this has an impact on the whole ecosystem. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Can't thank you enough for taking time to like, subscribe, and comment. Each one of those things greatly helps out the channel. I especially appreciate the critical feedback, as I always try to take that into account to make the channel, the videos better and better and better. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.